Hello everyone and welcome to the Nadlad survival story of Valheim the Ashlands. The Ashlands is a expansion to the Valheim series that recently dropped, and it is super duper fun. I've done a playthrough already with some other friends on a different world, but in this series we're going to make a new world, a new character, and see how far we can get into the Ashlands, and B, how quickly we're able to progress through the story. For those of you that have never played Valheim before, I would really recommend it. It is a wonderful game that has some challenging, unique twists. So with that being said, let's go ahead and make our new character and get to the wonderful gameplay. The character selection is pretty interesting because you have a lot of different hairstyles, and I do mean a lot of different hairstyles. Personally, I like having the longer kind of Viking haircuts. Ponytail's not really doing it for me. But like the long hair there was a decent one I usually roll with. The braided, no hair, those are all options. Probably want to go with the long hair one and a beard like this. And we're going to drop it down to jet black, and we'll call it Nads. Wonderful. And let's create a new world and Nadlad Adventures. Alrighty, and let's get into the gameplay. One of the coolest story openers, in my opinion, is this game. Talking about how we're basically going to a purgatory kind of place where we're having to fight Odin's enemies. And here we go, flying in with a Valkyrie carrying us from the battlefield of where we once died to the new world, aka Valheim. And it's kind of interesting. You come in on a stormy evening. You can't really see where you're coming in from, it's just that you're flying over vast oceans. And I actually don't know the Valkyrie's names. That's bringing us in, but there are some wonderful tidbits of lore from actual Norse mythology in here. And we start right here in the meadows. And when you spawn in, you have nothing other than a rag tunic and a torch. And I'm looking forward to this playthrough. So let's go ahead and start off by grabbing some stones, seeing where Eikthyr is, which he's over here. Wonderful. And let's go ahead and start getting stone, wood, and we're going to need some food of some type. In the meadows, we've got raspberries, we've got mushrooms, and then there's some wildlife we'll encounter here after a bit, hopefully. Otherwise, we might have a little bit of a rougher time. And there's some skills in the game where you can do certain actions to level them up. And then, there is a deer right there. Unfortunately, I don't have a way to get to said deer, but for the time being, that's just going to have to be how it is for a minute. Until we get some better weapons and armor and gear to be able to help us in our endeavors. So we need some more wood and some more stone to make an axe. And we've got a greyling there. Greylings are not friendly. They're very hostile towards poor little Nadlad on his first day. It's usually easier to get a bunch of the branches and stones that are just laying about, especially early on. But even as you progress through the rest of the game, it can become a little bit easier. Oops. And now we can deal with these wonderful creatures and start cutting down some real wood at a decent rate. So, real quick, all the skills can be listed here, and as you get new weapon types and new armor types and such, you can level up those unique skills. And if you die for whatever reason, then you lose some progress on those skills. Kind of like Skyrim, and you know, if you go to prison, you lose some level progression in the skill. Similar kind of concept here. And Eikthyr all the way down here. Wonderful. Oh, and we got some mushrooms. Send another one back up. Here it is. So we got all these nice little markers. What I like to usually do is I'll put like a campfire wherever I'm going to be at. If I'm moving around certain things. My home icon is where I put my base at. These I usually use for like burial crypts and other kind of caves and stuff. The little dot is for like points of interest. In this case, we have 4-M, and that's for 4 mushrooms. That'll matter more in middle and late game as we progress forward, because we'll have to get certain materials and bring it back. But it's always a good idea to mark your berries, mushrooms, some other materials as we move forward. Just kind of keep an eye out for those nice little things. But overall, so far, it's a beautiful. I mean, you might not like the art style of the game, and that's fine. But to me, this is beautiful. Just look at this. Nice, wonderful, lush forest. You have, plenty of hills with some clean space. An actual meadow area. And it's just, beautiful. Alrighty. I think we're going to wind up trying to get a base a little bit closer to the ocean. That way life's a little bit easier for us as we get out of the meadows and into other parts of the world. There's a couple other things I'd like to get before we actually arrive at the ocean, but that's okay. And I do need to go ahead and make me a hammer. Ooh. So one thing we don't want to do is die too frequently, because then all the progress is gone, to all the progress we've made in our skills, and it affects all your skills across the board whenever you die. Not just the ones you've been using or not using, but every one of them. So this has potential. It's not as flat as I'd like it to be, but that's okay. We can make this work right here. Yeah, this will be fine. This will be great. So we got our first little thing. It's called a workbench, and it allows us to do all the things we need to do. We have to build ourselves a little, I like to call them crack shacks because they're not a full-blown house, but it's the only way we're able to actually use our workbench for the betterment of our situation. So with that being in mind, let's go ahead and get this crack shack put together. And we need some more wood to get this thing really operational, and then we'll be living life large. My objective for day one is to get a bed made up and a campfire and just the basic bare necessities. So a bed, a campfire, maybe we can get a bow or something to start cutting down some wonderful deer, start hunting them, and some boars, but that's a ways away. And yes, whenever you do fell a tree, you do have to actually wind up cutting it all the way down. So you have a stump here, and you have a log that just kind of falls. You gotta watch out for the tree boss here. It's a little bit of a joke because the trees will absolutely one-tap you in this early game stage when they fall down, and just keep whacking on them for a while. And eventually, it comes another log, but this one's smaller, more manageable, and we can use this smaller log to wind up getting us wood out of this to build. There we go. So what I usually like to do is get the smaller logs, like those little twig tree branches basically, and use those for cutting and making my wood for my base. But well, we're kind of a little bit limited in our current situation. We do have to manage our stamina bar, which is a bit tedious at times, but that's okay. It's pretty funny because in later game content you'll see me really not enjoying the stamina bar as much as I could be, but I have my reasons. We got 1, 2, if I can pick it up, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 raspberries right here by the house. This is wonderful. Alrighty. And we'll come down here and cut the remainder of this big log. Alright. Wonderful. So we can repair our axe like we just did, and then we can actually make ourselves a hoe. And the hoe is useful for leveling out the ground around us and raising it as needed. And the way the hoe works is wherever you are standing, it'll bring that piece of land as closely to that level as possible. Sometimes you have to use stone to bring up the ground that you're on, but that is just part of it sometimes. Alrighty, and we have ourselves our first little flat piece of land. And we're going to go ahead and build our first actual homestead, kind of, loosely. You'll have to forgive me because it's not going to be the most beautiful thing in the world that ever existed, but it will be a start. Alrighty. We'll knock out that wall there and get ourselves a couple of gates. Like so. Alrighty. And now let's get another wood wall layer built up. Oh, Well, actually, we need more wood. So let's go grab some more wood. Alrighty, we got some more wood. We have 55 total wood. The sun is, don't know, probably about noontime, I would say, give or take. It's kind of hard to tell with all these trees, but that's all good. Think about this for a second. I knew those took a little off. I put them at just a tick off on that, which is super unfortunate, but that's okay. Alrighty, now let's build ourselves a roof. The reason we're putting it on piers, kind of like this, or bars, however you'd like to phrase it, is because we're going to get ourselves a nice little campfire in here in a second, and we have to find some way of dealing with the smoke. And we're going to need more wood, it looks like. So we'll go deal with that as soon as we get done repairing our axe. Alrighty, let's go get some more wood. For those who might be seeing a pattern here, it's always a grind to get more wood. Your wood cutting skill, like mine's already at level 13, so it's going to be growing rapidly. And we're only on day 1. Keep that in mind. So, but hopefully if I don't die, I'll be able to actually have my first skill at level 100. But I have not yet achieved a perfect 100 on any skill set yet. And we got some more raspberries up here. The reason we pick these raspberries as soon as we see them is because they do respawn. I can't remember the exact timing of how long it takes, but they do respawn, which is super critical. I could not imagine trying to find every single meadow and keep picking raspberries. In early game, it's a great food source for us. In late game, they have another purpose. They also have blocking, which you just saw me do. Blocking is a way to take less damage, but if you do what's called a perfect block, then you wind up being able to stagger your opponent, whatever it is that's hitting you. But that's all based upon how much damage you can actually stagger is based upon your health pool itself, and then whatever the block rating of whatever it is you're using to block with. So in this case, my axe has a block force of 20 with block armor of 3. What does that really mean? Essentially, my axe will allow me to take 3 less points of damage, or maybe it's 3%. I honestly could not tell you. But my theory is that it winds up allowing you to take 3 less points of damage instead of getting the full force of everything that you're getting hit with. We're going to put our campfire right there, and we're going to put ourselves a bed kind of right here, and then ourselves a nice little chest right there. The chest, we're going to dump all the stuff that we're not currently using, and we're going to have to put a little bit of a roof over our heads, so if the rain comes in the evening, we will not get wet. Okay, and we are all out of wood. And that is day 1. We have built ourselves a rudiment. I'm going to get some more wood real quick before day 1 is actually over. Hopefully I don't get punished on day 1 for going out and trying to get a couple more logs. I think we need like 10 or 15. I think it's only 10 though. So I'm going to try to get 10 more wood to finish out the first iteration of our lovely humble abode. And then afterwards, we will get to day 2. And day 2 will be a lot more grindy. So, tip for you guys and girls that are watching this. These little birds can actually be shot with a bow. I did not know this for the longest time. And it wasn't until I was playing one day with a buddy of mine, he told me, "Nad, why are you not shooting the birds?" I was like, "Well, I can't shoot them. I didn't think you could." And he goes, "Oh, no, buddy. You can shoot anything in this game. Anything you want to." I was like, "Oh, that's interesting. That was never explained to me." But yes, they give you feathers when they are slain. I'll see you guys for day 2.